Hi, hello, and welcome to episode 44 of the Whimsy podcast. My name is Zenith. My pronouns are they, them. I am so happy you are joining me here today. This is my YouTube channel where I talk about all the things that I have been knitting lately, crafting on, any other hobbies. Spoiler for the end, there are some hobbies I don't think I've ever talked about on this channel that I will be sharing towards the end, so stay tuned for that. Today is Saturday, April 4th. We are in April. We have survived April Fool's Day. Yay. And yeah, it is a wonderful day. The weather is a little bit weird. The temperature is actually going to be dropping through the day, which I don't love. I am ready for like that late spring energy of highs in the 60s and 70s, lows in the 50s and 40s. I am not loving that the highs are in the 40s today. So there's that. Anyway, today we have kind of a jam-packed episode. The first thing I want to say is that this week there has been a jump in subscribers. So yay, thank you for that. If you're one of my new people, welcome to the channel. I hope you enjoy your time here. Don't expect too much because it's a very chill place here. But I'm happy that you're joining us here all the same. That's awesome. And yeah, let's dive on into things. First of all, this morning, for the first time in literally months, I have coffee. So we'll see how this episode goes. We'll see if I start going in circles and going crazy. This is the butter pecan flavor from Dunkin'. And yeah, ever since I left my job, I no longer have to get up like to an alarm clock. I just wake up when I wake up, and because of that, if I was still drinking the same amount of caffeine that I was before, my circadian rhythm would be completely shot and I would be nocturnal. So I had to cut all caffeine out. Just no caffeine anymore. But today I was like, you know what? I want a special treat. I want my $3 iced coffee. So I got my $3 iced coffee. Treat yourself. Anyway, okay, now we're going to focus. So in today's episode, we have one finished object, 3 official, like, active works in progress. You're going to see a 4th one that's for my upcoming plans. Speaking of, I'm going to share both kind of my April making plans and my quarterly plans. I like to break up my knitting into quarters. And so I've set my second quarter basket. We'll go through that. And I also have a new show that I am watching that I'm excited to talk about. And again, I have that sneak peek other hobby that I'm going to talk about towards the end. It's not even fiber related, and I'm excited to talk about it. So let's dive on in. The first thing we're going to do, of course, finished object. If I can grab them, if my hands will work today. I love these so much. They just make me so freaking happy. These are my orange socks. They're my basic vanilla pattern. I cast on 56 stitches on a size 1.5 Addy Flexi Flip. I do 10 rounds of ribbing for the cuff. I do 30 rounds for the leg, a slip stitch heel, however many rounds I need for the foot, and a square toe. I made these for myself. I wear a size like 7.5, 8. So I do 65 rounds for the foot, and in this case I did 2x2 ribbing. So yeah, I wasn't sure. This was out of a 50-gram ball. This is the Premier Fruits collection in the color orange. I love that collection so much. I've only knit, this is my second time knitting it, and it's so good. I love the colors. I love that they're just themed after fruits. It's a very simple theme. I can get behind it. I wasn't sure how much yarn I would have left over because I only used a 50-gram ball. I have more of it, but I only wanted to use one, and I have this much left. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. It doesn't maybe look like there's that much, but there's enough to like go up to probably, I don't know, a size like 9 women's. 9.5 maybe. So yeah, 10 I think would be pushing it, but yay. I especially am happy about that because that's not a wool yarn. That's an acrylic yarn. It means I don't have contrast colors that aren't other stripes yarn, and I don't necessarily want to get into like breaking up 50-gram balls when I know that it's only 50 and like there's only so much you can do with that. So yeah, and I'm saving the ends. My roommate, fun fact, is allergic to wool. Also, my roommate is literally the most well-dressed person I've ever met in my life, and she's very good at like fashion, and she has like a really good eye for color and stuff like that. So my unhinged goal is to, every time I knit one of the Fruits yarns, or now they have a farm stand line, which, tangent, in the last episode I showed what I got from the farm stand line, and every single time I confidently called it the vegetable stand. And I was thinking, like, that's a weird name for this. Because it's not the name. It's farm stand. So there's that. Anyway, I've decided every time that I have one of these leftovers, I'm just going to put them all in a bag. And when they're all done, I'm going to knit her like a little shawlette out of them and call it the fruit salad shawlette. And because she's like really good with like fashion and color and everything, like she's going to be able to match it with like basically anything in her wardrobe, even though it's going to be like this amalgamation of like different brightly colored striped yarns. And I'm really excited both to make it. I'm excited to give it to her. I'm excited to see her wear it. There is another shawl. I have a giant rainbow shawl that I made for Pride like 3 years ago. And I wore it once. I wore it to Pride. And then I was like, I don't really wear bright colors. I don't know what to do with this. And she was like, can I wear it? Because it was cotton. And I was like, sure. And she's been wearing it for like 3 years. She gave it back to me literally this week because I had an art gallery for a friend of mine. A friend of mine had an art gallery rather as part of his senior project. And so I went to it. I will show you how I styled that. You can tell I wear one color and then went, oh no, how do I dress fancy? Yeah. Yeah. So, but my roommate wears that. She literally wears that shawl like once a week. She wears that. So I'm excited to make another one that is officially hers, because the rainbow shawl is basically like on loan. Like it's my shawl that she models, basically. So anyway, I'm excited to get her like a real shawl once I complete a whole lot more socks. So that is coming. That was a whole tangent, but again, it's a coffee kind of day. So you're getting me at my caffeinated today. That brings us into whips, and we're gonna do the most exciting one first. So you guys, buckle your seatbelts. Look, I finished the body. This is extra exciting because I did the things you're not supposed to do. Here's where we were last time. The pumpkin is where we were. I did the thing you're like never ever ever supposed to do when you're knitting a sweater, especially a sweater pattern that calls for you to set your gauge and everything by trying it on your human body. And I did not try it on my human body. I just didn't. I was like, I don't love working with barber cord. Barber cord does not love me. Barber cord loves to pop off my needles like at the worst moment, and I end up dropping tons of stitches, and it's really frustrating and whatever. And so I love this sweater. You might tell because I feel like I've worn it for like the last month straight in videos. I love this specific jacket. I love it. So what I ended up doing instead, because I just like could not deal with barber cord, was I would take this off and I would zip it up, lay it flat on the floor, and then lay the sweater on top of it. I'll post a picture right here so you can kind of see what it looks like. And I just did all of my degrees of decisions were made based on my favorite sweater. Lo and behold, it fits. I will also post a picture of what it looks like when I am wearing it. Obviously, this is unblocked, so it is going to end up larger, longer, and kind of be more of an oversized fit, which I am fine with. So yeah, but I'm so happy with how it turned out. I'm so happy with how the colors all look together. I'm like loving how the edges look. And then I have heard rumors of this place called Sleeve Island, and I was like, that's not going to be me. So I did also start both of my sleeves. And it does look a little bit crazy. This was not what I wanted to do for the sleeves. What I wanted to do for the sleeves was getting out my little scale, which I have never used before, but I have owned for multiple years, and getting out my scale, setting it up, and weighing out my yarn balls one at a time, and having the scale be like, okay, this is like 21.2 grams, and being like, okay, bet, and winding off like, 10.7 grams or like 10.6 grams. I can do math. And then having 2 fully equal sized yarn balls, and then just like setting half of them aside and doing one sleeve and then doing the other sleeve. That is what I wanted to do. My scale was not on the same page. So my scale, when I put a 20 gram mini on it, was like, this is 6.5 grams. And I was just kind of sitting there staring at it for a bit, like, how are you getting 6.5 out of this? Like, I could see 18, 19, 23, 6. And as I was like just kind of sitting there being like, what do I do? It was like, oh wait, I think it's 4.5 grams. And I was still just like, what do I do? So I like turned it off, turned it back on, put the ball back on there. It was like, oh, okay, I got it. 9 grams. And I was like, maybe if it's wrong, it can be equally wrong. So I got out my little handy dandy manual Swift tool. Very fancy. Yes, this is a Bath & Body Works perfume bottle that I got when I was in high school. Used all the perfume of, and then have used ever since to wind yarn around it so that I can have center pull minis. Yes. It still smells like perfume, by the way, which is awesome because it's just peppermint. Anyway, I digress. I started winding off yarn onto it, and I was like, I'll just make 2 equally sized balls, and they'll each be like a fake 4.5 grams. No, that didn't work either, because like I wound off maybe a quarter of it, and it was like, yep, you're at 4.5 grams, and I was like, I'm not at fake 4.5 grams. No. So I kind of eyeballed the first one and made it work, and that was whatever. And then I decided, I was like, obviously this is not going to work. So I decided instead that what I'm going to have to do is manually stripe the sleeves. So I looked at my sweater, and most of the stripes are like 8 to 9 rows. Which also goes in pretty seamlessly with the decreases for the sleeves. And so I decided that I would just manually stripe the yarn every 8 rows. And so I do like 8 rows, cut the yarn, move to the other sleeve, do 8 rows, cut the yarn, put the scraps back into my bucket, and move to the next yarn ball. And so I don't love that I have scraps. I don't love that I can't do a full 8 rows. There's no way I'm going to get 8 rows out of what's left. I don't love that with the way that I need to count for the decreases, it would also be really chaotic to count for changing the yarn. Like, it would be really difficult to do both. And yeah, it's not my favorite thing in the world, but I do think that my sleeves look pretty fantastic. So there's that. I'll put a picture of the yarns I initially chose with the little wrappers that said what color they were, because I don't remember. And I knew that I wasn't going to remember, so I took a picture of it before I wound them. These are more yarns that were gifted to me by my friend Kaylee. Last fall, she sent me like a plastic tub's worth of yarn, including just like 1,000 minis. So these came from there. So they were not part of a set. I did use both of the sets she sent me. And obviously this is not going to be enough yarn for the sleeves. I think if I had used 100% of the yarn, it would get me like at least to the elbow. But it is not going to be a full sleeve as it is. So I picked some initial colors, and of course I didn't grab them to put over here. But yeah, we're just gonna figure it out from there. So we are in the home stretch. My plan for this week is that I want all 3 of the whips I'm going to show today to be done by the next episode. Is that actually gonna happen? I don't know. But that is like what I'm striving to achieve, is 100% finished. All of these will have 3 finished objects in the next episode. So yeah. Anyway, I love this. I don't know if I even said, I didn't say the pattern. This is the Whatever Sweater by Julie Knits in Paris. It is just a basic standard raglan. I love this pattern. It's the first time I've ever knit a sweater. So yeah. I love it. I love it so much. It's so soft. It's so good. It's the perfect weight, yarn weight. It's not like too warm. It's not like I'm still freezing. And yeah, I am knitting both of the sleeves like on magic loop. The magic loop falls out when I switch to the other sleeve, and I'm doing it very like loosey-goosey style. I have around 80 something stitches on the needle. So I just count out 40 and then like pull the cord through, and that's fine. It's working fine for me. So I'm chilling. I'm vibing over here. But yeah, I'm very excited to have this done. I have another bingo square crossed off for the year, and have one of my 12 cast-ons be complete, because I did do 12 days of cast-ons earlier this year. So I think this might even be like the first official finish, because I finished some other things toward it, but they're things that are like ongoing projects. But this is the first kind of official finish. I also want to show, oh my god, I'm actually using needle stoppers for like the first time in my life, basically. So I have these little chickadees, and I have these little gems. I don't remember where I got these, unfortunately. But yeah, and I did show you the pumpkin stitch marker for where I was last time. I worked on this a lot. What happened was I finished my orange socks on Monday, and my new kind of system for myself is that I cast on a new pair of socks every Friday. And then when I finish that socks, by the time I finish it to the time I cast on the next pair, I just work on like a secondary project the whole time. So this got a lot of work done on it. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. And now we're on to the next whip, and it's in this bag. It's my pumpkin bag. This is one of my beanies, and I work on beanies every week, but I don't always show them on the YouTube channel, because I don't want them to get repetitive, to be like, it's the same thing, just 2 inches longer. Like, no. But this is what I do for like anything that I just need stockinette knitting. So I work on this in one of my online classes, because I don't always sit still very well. So like in between taking notes, I'll just sometimes just knit. I take it with me when I get my weekly allergy shots, because I have to sit there for half an hour to make sure I don't like go into anaphylactic shock and die. So I take this with me. It also came with me this week. Like, we were going to the art gallery. I was not the one driving, and we were going like 45 minutes away, and I was like, that's 45 minutes. I can be working on a hat. So, but I do, because I plan to finish it and show it finished in the next episode, I thought I would show you where we're at right now. So this is the Freckled Whimsy colorway from January. It's Polar Bear Shenanigans. Apparently the last time I showed it, and this doesn't seem right, was here, all the way down in the ribbing. That doesn't seem right to me, but that's where the stitch marker is, or the progress keeper rather. So I don't know, but anyway, we're almost done with the beanie. I think I don't know, I'm either gonna finish it this weekend or I'm gonna finish it on like Tuesday, but I have a feeling I'm gonna finish it like this weekend. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. It's gonna go into my basket of just beanies to collect through the year. One of my plans for the holiday season is every year I throw a party for Yule. And I've wanted to do this for years, and I've never like committed to the process of getting all my crap together. But what I would like to do for Yule this year is to have like a small basket filled with hand knit items. That's basically like a grab what feels right. Like, you know, if you want it, take it, and just have it filled with like hats, maybe some mittens, whatever. And then have people just kind of take it as they want. And so this is going to go into that pile. So yeah. Oh, I should say the pattern. This is actually a self-drafted pattern. This is just like according to my gauge and the way that I knit. This is what I like to do. So I cast on 144 stitches onto a size 2.5 needle. I knit ribbing 2x2 until I lose patience. I switch to a size 4 and I do stockinette until I lose patience, and then I do a spiral crown. Because I have 144 stitches, I start with knit 10, knit 2 together, knit 9, knit 2 together, so on and so forth. We're going to take a hydration break because I am like choking over here. I obviously have like asthma and allergies and a whole lot of things going on, but today the other thing that happens is I film like usually first thing in the morning on Saturdays, and I usually am not like as hydrated as I could be. And then I spend the whole time that I'm filming being like, please get it together. Like, why can I not speak when I don't have any water in my body? And so today I woke up and I specifically was like, we're not doing anything until I drink at least 16 ounces of water into my body. And then go get coffee and drink half of it. And I still am like choking on my spit. And I'm like, why? Why? I just can't win. I just really can't win. Anyway, for a second I thought I was missing a yarn ball. Turns out I'm just a yarn bag. I was just sitting in front of it. The last whip, you know her, you love her. It's the mermaid bag that my friend Kaylee made me. And in this bag we have socks. There is always socks in this bag. Nothing else goes in here. And yesterday was Friday, so I cast on another pair of socks. And I chose to do another one of the Premier acrylic socks. This is one of the new colorways from the Farm Stand collection. This is the color Cucumber. This is going to be a gift for my roommate. I usually give her a gift for Mother's Day. She's not my mom, but she kind of feels like a motherly kind of vibe in my life. She's in her 60s, I'm in my 30s. So it makes, yeah. Anyway, so I'm gonna make her these. She said the Cucumber was like her favorite colorway out of that collection. So I got it. I'm hiding it from her. I'm knitting in my room. So she's not gonna know, and I'm gonna give it to her for Mother's Day. So I think they're so cute and adorable. And again, I'm just doing my standard pattern. The other reason I specifically chose her is that I really want to finish my sweater this week, which means I need to have knitting time for my sweater. And she has the smallest feet out of like all of my friends and family. Because I knit so many socks, I literally have like a spreadsheet with just like my friends and their shoe size. And then like how many rows I usually do for their socks. And then I color code it based on like the last time that they got socks. Because that's who I am as a person. And anyway, so first of all, I haven't made her socks in a very long time. Second of all, she has very tiny feet. So I was like, let me work on like the world's smallest socks, get them done, and then still have like 4 days once again to work on my sweater. I did seriously think about not casting on socks this week and just working on the sweater, and then I was like, I can do both. So I'm gonna do both. But yeah, that was my thought process on that. So that wraps up works in progress. Let me check my notes real quick. The next thing we're going to talk about is my long-term plans through the next quarter. So April, May, June plans. According to my notes, this is the next thing to talk about. So my sweater is going to finish up hopefully this week. Should be this week. I'm going to be upset if it's not this week. That means I will have a big project opening. And when I did my 12 cast-ons, I chose like 4 major projects. So I'm doing the Northeasterly blanket, which doesn't get shown very often. It was shown in the last episode, so if you haven't seen that, go back and watch it. My Northeasterly blanket, but I work on it every Wednesday. So that's like getting worked on. It's like locked in already. I have the whatever sweater, obviously. I have a Radvent cardigan, which is also being made with an Advent calendar. And then I have I'm calling it the North Down wrap. It's kind of like a Northeasterly meets the wrap down patterns, but I'm doing it self-drafted. And I haven't worked on this in a very long time. It's in this bag. I'm going to show it and we're going to talk about it because the more that I think about it, the more I'm like, I don't enjoy the way that it looks right now. And I think I want to frog it and do something else with that yarn. But I also haven't looked at it. So I haven't looked at it since like January. So it is very possible that actually I do like the way that it looks. And I'm being dramatic for no reason, but I am considering doing something else with the yarn. So this is where we're at right now. It's cute. I don't think it's gonna do. I want this to not be a mess. I don't think it's gonna do what I want it to do. I don't think it's wide enough. Because what I want it to do, if I can get it to even like do the thing. Yeah. So what my plan with this was I really wanted, sorry, I'm a mess. What I really wanted the North Down to do was be a shawl that I can wear in my reading chair that is like just really big and like really wide and that will keep my back warm and then I can then like wrap around me like a blanket without actually being a blanket. And this is not giving that. So I think I'm gonna frog it. I'm a little bit thinking about doing kind of a boomerang shawl. The rainbow shawl that I showed earlier is a boomerang shape and I love it, and I think if I did boomerang with the colors of this shawl, I would enjoy it a lot. But I'm also thinking about just doing like the most basic triangular shawl. I want something that's going to have I-cord edging on all the sides. And I'm thinking if I just do like I-cord and then just like increases at the start of every row, going back and forth, it'll just make a giant triangle. And then when it's at the end, I just bind it off an I-cord and then wear it. I think that'll just make my life super, super easy. So I don't even know that I'm necessarily looking for a pattern. I think I'm just gonna go for it. But the other thing that I'm thinking is that I don't know. So from the moment I received these yarns, I was like, I don't know how I feel about these colors. So this is what we have left for the colors. And I think what I would like to do is to also like reorganize them so that it looks really stripy, so that there's not like 2 similar colors next to each other, especially considering like how many neutral colors there are in this. I think I would like to break up all the neutrals with the more vibrantly colored stuff so that it's really, really stripy. Yeah, so I was thinking about this. Now that I've officially looked at it, I'm like, oh, that's what we're doing. No. This is going to come undone. We're going to rewind all of it, and we're going to start again at the beginning. Maybe even with a different cord, because actually, no, we will still use this cord because a triangular shawl is going to get gigantic, and this is a 60-inch cord. So, I don't know what size it is. It's a 5. Well, that's not going to work because I also want to hold the yarn double. Because I think a DK weight will be better for me than doing fingering weight. For like when I'm like, you know, in the middle of winter and I'm freezing my butt off. So yeah. I will find a size 7 needle. I will hold the yarn double. Yeah. Okay, so that's that plan. That's my next major plan. I don't know if I will get to that this week on top of finishing the other 3 projects. So we will see how that goes. If I do, you'll see it. If I don't, you'll see it the week after. And then the final thing I want to show, I'm going to move my coffee so I don't knock it over. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know I have a basket that I like to stage my yarn in every quarter that I pull from. And so I have refilled the basket. It is not full completely with yarn. I want to make that very clear. I put a blanket in the bottom because I like the look of a fully full basket, but if I actually have this all the way full with yarn, I will feel overwhelmed. So I'm going to show you like one by one. I did a couple different things. I actually, first of all, I tried to make a video of me picking yarns. None of it worked out. Excuse me. First of all, I forgot to change out of my pajamas and was like, oh, this should not go on the internet. Second of all, I did not talk to the camera for like half of it. Third of all, the angles and the views and everything, like it did not make sense. Fourth of all, I don't know how to do the licensing for adding music to videos. And so the whole thing would have just been like me on mute shopping for my stash. Like it was, I tried editing it and I was like, what am I doing? No. So anyway, but I do have all the yarns picked. Again, I did a couple of different things. First of all, one of my goals for the year is to knit through all of my Tiny Human Knits yarns. So I made the executive decision to put all of my Tiny Human Knits into the basket so that they are always available for me to choose, so that they are getting worked on through the year. The second thing I chose was I decided that there is no more room in my large scraps bag. So like the bag of things where like I have made a pair of socks, but I still have like enough to do another pair of socks. So basically anytime that I wind up a 100-gram ball of yarn, that one is full. I cannot do that. So I have room in my stash because I'm working on the Northeasterly that is all self-striping yarn. I can work on any of my self-striping yarns, but not really anything else right now until I start getting some of those other yarns used up into hats, whatever. So I picked 3 more of the Premier yarns. So I picked Fruits in the color grape, which I might knit. I'm thinking about making these for my mom for Mother's Day. I picked Guava, which I'm a little bit obsessed with. These also would make good socks for my mom. And then I picked Purple Basil from Farm Stand. And that one I think is going to be for me. Where does it say Farm Stand? There you go. I also went through all of my Felici yarns. I actually reorganized my Felici bin, which also like made me much more excited. So I have Lisa. I chose this because June obviously is Pride Month. So I have to have a rainbow yarn. Somebody's going to get rainbow socks. Might be me. We'll see. I also picked up Beach Cruiser. I picked up Cactus Flower. These remind me of my mom, but she has a similar color that I've already made for her that's like neon. So I don't need to make those for her. I don't know who they'll be for. I picked up Beatnik. And the last one I chose is General Store, which I think Lisa from 72 Stitches has knit this one recently. So that's all of my self-striping commercially dyed yarns. I do have in here, I have a scrap from Brazos Fireworks. This is the one I actually made my mom. This is Summer Bikini. And I left this in here because this is going to be my next hat. So I was like, that can stay in the basket. That's fine. But like, this is how much I have left over after I make a pair of socks. Like it's not even a scrap. Like it's just a halfway used ball. I need to find something to do with this. And I have found what I'm going to do with this. Actually, I'm going to make, when I finish all my other big projects, I'm going to make a whatever sweater with a whole bunch of these because it's going to eat it up super fast. Anyway. And then I have all my Tiny Human Knits yarns. So I have Nutcracker. And I don't know like when exactly I'm going to knit these, but it'll be sometime in the next, through the end of the year. I have another potatoes. I have knit this one before. I have baker's twine. I have goldenrod. I have Sarmon's storeroom. I have carols in the snow. I have a mystery. And I have another mystery, which looks like potatoes. And then last but not least, I do have some indie dyed yarn that is 50 grams. So I grabbed exactly one of them. And that is from Craftily Dyed Yarns. I have the color Seafoam. So if I really, really, really get burned out on self-striping, I've got this. I did leave all the yarns that I did not knit in March that I was originally planning to. I did leave them in my bin for things I plan to knit during the month. I am not necessarily going to knit them in April, but I didn't want to deal with putting them away. So they're all still there. There is a Tiny Human Knits is already wound up over there. I forget the name of it. That one I will probably knit this month. I have a friend with a birthday in May that I think will like that color quite a lot. So I'm going to try my best to make that one for her and just keep on trucking along. So give me a second to put all these yarns back into their basket. Now that all of that is put away and talked about, that is the end of our crafting adventure. However, there's another hobby I want to talk about. What is it? Well, well. If you have been watching for a while, you might have remembered back in January, I showed my bingo card of all the things I want to do in 2026. Here's a brief recap for you. Let me move to the side because we're going to have to show other stuff. Here's my bingo card. Here's what it looks like now. One of the skills on there, on the next to last row, kind of over on the right side, we have learn lacto fermentation, which is basically salt brined pickles. And I've been working on this for basically a couple weeks. I've successfully made 3 types of sauerkraut, which I'm really excited about. But also last week, I set up some more pickles. And they are starting to be ready, and I wanted to talk about them because I'm just really excited. So, like, please look at my pickles. I made these. I did this myself. So I have preserved lemons, and I also have 2 types of pickles. I know you can't see the second jar in the first photo. There is a second photo. Let me swap them out. And yeah, I did these completely, like, on my own. I did the ratio of salt to like product, whatever. I'm a very loosey-goosey person, as you might have seen. So I kind of just did like 2 tablespoons per quart of water and just kind of pour that in, except for the preserved lemons. For that one, I did 1 tablespoon of salt per lemon, which is a little bit excessive. And then you just kind of like squeeze it and like get all the juice to come out, and then it gets covered in its own juices, and the extra salt sits at the bottom, so that's totally fine. But yeah, those have been sitting on my counter all week, and like every time I see them, I just get so excited that I'm learning a new skill. So yeah, that's it. And then the final thing I want to talk about this week was I started a new show that I am obsessed with. It's called Expedition Unknown. It's from National Geographic, and it's kind of like if Indiana Jones was the host of a documentary series and also wasn't problematic. So I'm enjoying it so much. I watched 2 episodes of it yesterday, and I was like, oh god, this is my life now. I'm never going to know what time it is ever again, because I'm just going to like get lost and let 1 episode become 5. So I'm watching it on Disney Plus. They start with season 7. That's fine. I think there's 12 seasons total, and each episode is an hour. So I'm locked in with so much to watch, so much knitting time. And yeah, I'm really, really, really excited. So that's going to get me through all of my knitting this week, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, I think that's all I've got. I've been talking for a million years, aka 42 minutes. So, it's not going to be 42 minutes to you because I did have like quite a few hydration breaks and coughing moments and all the wonderful things that happen when your lungs hate you. So, one of these days, the allergy shots are going to make things better, but it takes a really long time for that to happen. So, we're still in that just like tolerate everything and be patient mindset. So there's that. Anyway, I hope you are having a fantastic week. I hope you are finding all the whimsy in your life and having great knitting time and all those things. Let me know what you're working on down below. I would love to hear what projects are inspiring you. And yeah, I will see you next time. Okay, bye.